Here goes nothing.
Tony Caravan.
You've been subjected to a highly sophisticated form of propaganda.
It's just what you need, and not what you don't.
Good morning.
Okay.
Oh, no.
It's the holiday season.
Yeah, it's still the holiday season, and today's Kwanzaa. Happy Kwanzaa to you. As I say in my song, the worst Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa song ever written or performed. Happy Kwanzaa to you. Kwanzaa is a holiday that was created back in the late 60s by a professor. He may have been from Penn State, if I recall offhand, but it was, or Pitt, or someplace like that. And the idea was based on a series of African holidays, harvest holidays, and it extends through the whole week. And so, never turned down a good excuse to wear a dashiki. It's one of the most comfortable things in the world. I got mine, and they're very inexpensive because it's basically just a piece of material, like kind of cut and sewn together. I bought my first dashiki many, many years ago, back around the time that this song was getting played on the radio. Our music feature for the day, Gil Scott-Heron, "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised." And there's also the Get Out of the Ghetto Blues is on that album. I got both those tracks in my collection, and it usually makes it into one of my my mixes. But you know, for as cool as Gil was about, you know, and the revolution was televised, wasn't it? It was starting to be televised over the past several years, and it's still televised. I wonder what he thinks about, you know, that, what's going on. Be interesting. But nonetheless, a great album feature and a great artist, and I highly recommend it. You know, I don't know if they're, you know, people of a certain age, if they don't know or don't know that song, but The Revolution Will Not Be Televised is just a great song. I don't know what to say. It makes it to my. It always makes it to my. Usually my summer tapes, but listening party tapes or whatever. But check it out, Gil Scott-Heron, "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised." I thought that was apropos on Kwanzaa. Maybe, maybe not. But then again, you know, anything goes. And this is a dashiki. This is a beret. Okay. Just in case you didn't understand that. And there's the title card, right? Me with the fist. The Morning Show with Tony C. Because, you know, the funny thing about it was, you know, I told you before I was at like the March on Washington too. And, you know, it's like I grew up in the civil rights movement and I watched it like go through its entire transition and all the horrors and all the accomplishments that were made over a relatively short period of time, over a decade or so, and that people today, because it ended 40 years ago, about 40 years ago, or more, almost 50, that people today don't even understand that. And so people with parents who are in their 50s, they just don't know what those times were like. And so they're like kind of doing a redux of it, but they don't understand. And this time, and absurdly, the revolution is being televised, but it's a half-assed revolution, and it's without meaning because it's just, like I say, in many cases, it's a lot of hypocrisy for profit, which is really sad, you know, really. So in any event, it's just something that I thought I brought up, but I want to be positive today, and it's going to be a free form show as usual. It's a Sunday morning. It's 4:48 a.m. Eastern Time. It's the 26th of December, of course, and what I'm now doing is I am taking my hypocrisy card, and I'm going to change that because I keep saying this all the time when I show this. So I'm going to do this. If you could bear with me here. I can't get everything done, for these shows. It's like the amount of preparation is already like beyond belief that you just can't imagine. All right, I'm going to save that. So you're saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? Get on with the Bugs Bunny show. It's hypocrisy for profit. That's what's going on right now. Anyway, that doesn't, I don't want to lessen anything, lessen the impact of artists like Gil Scott-Heron on the culture, right, and the movement. And I don't want to, downplay, those who celebrate Kwanzaa or those who took seriously the civil rights movement at the time. Okay, because I knew many of people, and I was in D.C., Philly, and all kinds of places. And after all the tumultuousness of it all, it literally was peace and love. And I think I alluded to this in a previous video that a lot of people didn't watch, but that it wasn't the 60s Woodstock peace and love. Okay. It was actually the post-civil rights movement that was really peace and love. And when we got into classic R&B in the late 70s and stuff, after the civil rights movement and after everybody calmed down from the horrors of the civil rights movement, feminist movement, the end of the Vietnam War, and all that stuff was now several years behind us, and we were moving forward, and that was classic R&B, and that was a great time. Great music, great culture, and people really came together. And I know because I was, like I say, I used to be down the shore, Philadelphia and down the seashore, and it was very integrated, and it was, I don't know, it's just hard to describe the time. And later on, I was in D.C. and New York, all around that era, or within, the coming years of that time. And the whole atmosphere was completely different than it is today. In other words, we had gone beyond race and all of that stuff. Really. It's the truth. It's the absolute truth. And I don't care what anybody says today, because some of the leaders of these so-called movements today, they weren't even born back then, And if any of the older folk who are still maybe trying to hang out with these kids, I call them, who are basically, because they're all, who are all basically, it's hypocrisy for profit, because they're making money off of these movements today. Back then it was for real, right? Freedom, justice, that's what it really was all about. And real freedom, justice, and equality, right? But today it's about money, and everybody's making money on this. Money, and they're on television. The complete opposite of the revolution will not be televised. Anyway, because to what's going on now is, I don't know, it's not a revolution. I don't know. It's something weird. But
I am your main connection to the switchboard of souls. I'm the magic man.
just to change gears, shift gears a little bit. Like probably millions of other people in America I watched The Matrix. And this is just a weird thing. This is another one of these like cultural edits that stared me in the face. And if you saw The Matrix, I don't know if you noticed it. And you have to be of a certain age to have noticed it. They were playing the Jefferson Airplane song, White Rabbit, and noticeably cut out from the vocal. In fact, it was like blaring because they just played the music part, was a hooker, right? And I was thinking about that, because it just stared me in the face, and the line that was missing, and I'm looking at the lyrics right now because I want to get it exactly right. It's tell him a hookah smoking caterpillar has given you the call. All right, call Alice when she was small. And for some reason they cut that out. Right? So it's so even actually I was wrong there. But it still is weird that they, for some reason, they cut out tell him a hookah, which is, one of those, it's like a bong, basically. Middle Eastern version of the bong, with multiple things on it. Tell him a hookah smoking caterpillar has given you the call. Call Alice when she was just, anyway. I don't know if anybody else noticed that they cut that out. A hookah. I always thought the line was hooker. I don't know. Where? Unless that lyric was changed. And I don't know. Like I say, you can never tell. It's internet, I met Grace Slick and Jorma Jefferson Airplane in Atlantic City in the Shelburne Hotel, which is no longer there. During the Atlantic City, there was a big concert at Atlantic City Speedway or Raceway or something like that, racetrack. And we were they were staying in the Shelburne Hotel, and we were staying in that hotel because my father, took us down there for 2 weeks because he used to have a business on the boardwalk in Atlantic City. But I think this was post that. So I was a little bit old enough to know the Jefferson Airplane. And I was in the elevator going down, and I was in the elevator with them. And they signed, and the weird thing, Grace Slick in those days, I mean, it's like anybody, you get older, but she was just like beautiful. She was really beautiful. If you ever see pictures of Grace Slick. And, and they were cool about autographing this thing for this kid. I mean, I wasn't kid, but I was like, what would be you would call junior high today, Yeah, so that was interesting. Yeah. Like I said, I was around all this stuff firsthand. It was just weird, like happenstance. I just happened to be at like all the key places in the later part of the 20th century and stuff. I don't know. That's why, watching a movie like The Matrix or something like that, it really makes you wonder. Though I'm not like one of those people. I don't necessarily believe in the simulation hypothesis or whatever you want to call it. Just because of the detail. But I had heard one. I put a little bit of that creamer in my coffee too, by the way. But I didn't put any in the carafe this time. And I was reading I put this vanilla chai in my cereal because I stopped using yogurt because I take prunes because the prunes I have are probiotic prunes that they say they're 10 times more absorbable into your microbiome than yogurt. 10 times more. Better. Plus, they're good for your system. Which, if I have to, like, take a break and play a song or something, you know why. But I was reading the label just for the hell. It was like 88 sugars were like, it was zero just about everything, and it was like 88 sugars or something. 88% of your sugar. And now I put some cream in my coffee, so it's like I just got 100%. And I wondered, last night I basically took a because those prunes aren't probably going to help me, because I took pain pill last night. I usually, pardon the words, constipate you. I took an ibuprofen 600 with a Tylenol, which the dentist had told me, like, that matched together is like the equivalent of like a prescription drug. And I gargled with this antiseptic blue mouthwash they give you after tooth extraction, and put some high super Oragel back here, because I think I got a problem. I think I have a cavity that could cause a problem. So the last thing I need to do is be like eating and drinking things with sugar in them. I should be on a no sugar anything at all, and hoping this xylitol stuff is going to fill that hole. I don't know, man. Things are really weird. Did I say
Good morning.
I don't know if I did or I didn't. But anyway.
Quality, quantity, and variety.
ROCKFLUX.
Let's get this show on the road.
Okay, so it's going to be a freeform show. The password is Dashiki. And like I said, happy Kwanzaa to you. And, and we're in the 12 days of Christmas now. So this would be the second day of Christmas, I guess. Because on the first day of Christmas, right, my true love gave to me a partridge in a pear tree, right? So I didn't get a partridge in a pear tree. But the second day of Christmas happens to be Kwanzaa. It's also, if I'm correct, it's in British Crown countries, it's Boxing Day, right? Pretty sure it's Boxing Day. So anyway, that's that. But yesterday, the reason yesterday was a nightmare. Apart from, I spent the day physically alone. If somebody visited me later in the day, briefly, but they were they were burned out from a long trip. But I had spoken with family members and did some FaceTime things, so I had to, so I was on that, and then in between that, I was like, I was watching The Matrix, right? Which I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say, what I think of it. It didn't blow me away, It was a long movie. It was like almost 2.5 hours long. Which is probably why I kept getting interrupted, because it was like impossible to watch it straight through. To get a MPIA whatever rating, Motion Picture Association rating, you have to be 90 minutes, at least 90 minutes long. So this is like an hour longer than the minimum length of a film, an official film. But there was a lot of clips. You'll see, if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to give you a spoiler on it. I mean, there isn't so much a spoiler on it. It's almost like they opened the door to, they might make another one or something. I don't know. They could well. I mean, I don't know. We'll just have to see. It was something to watch. HBO Max, It's like, was worth this. It's why I subscribed. I think a lot of people probably did that, It's like $15 for a monthly subscription. I was watching some other show I was telling you about the other day, Station 11, which is really kind of weird. But I have to see what else is on there and watch up some stuff, and then I might just end up canceling a subscription. Hopefully they let me out. because a lot of the other stuff just doesn't look like it necessarily appeals to me. Though Westworld is coming up at some point. Another season of that, supposedly. Or not supposedly, I saw a coming attraction. Well, it wasn't a coming attraction, but they just showing what's coming up because they probably know a lot of people, signed up to watch The Matrix. But I don't know how many millions of people watched it, but I'm imagining tens of millions of whatever. So even at $15 a pop, that's like a box office opening, that's 150 million there. But I bet you it was like if it was 10 million, but I mean, I bet you there was more than that, especially with this lockdown. So that, technically, I don't know how they would calculate, people signing on to HBO Max because it's Warner Brothers, how they would put 2 and 2 together, but we're talking about, I don't know. Who knows how many people watch The Matrix, right? 50 million, So that could have been one of the biggest openings, of the year. Which usually around Christmas time is when you have the big pictures anyway. But I have no idea what else is going on because I've looked around and a lot of the stuff just doesn't appeal to me. But what I was going to do as I just did that thing promoting the show, I wanted 2 things happen yesterday amidst all that, the family FaceTime, thing, the craziness of the day, dealing with the show in the morning, having gotten up early, didn't sleep well. Last night, I slept the first half of the night. I slept soundly, but then I was up for like 2 hours. I couldn't get back to sleep. And of course, it's 5:00 now, a.m., and but I was up at 3-ish. So, and just laid around in bed. But the problem was it rained all day yesterday, and my worst nightmare was realized in the attic. So this is what the attic would have looked like after I cleaned it up. I didn't take a picture yesterday because I had to basically take a chill pill because it was a nightmare. The buckets, those are like cat litter boxes. The cat litter boxes on the right-hand side, I would say at least two of them were overflowing. And water was coming down into my front bedroom, which I don't use anymore. And it's behind the door in a place where I couldn't put something to capture it. So I had to attempt to put a little thing there, and I have a dehumidifier, and I had the dehumidifier on in the front bedroom all night long. And meanwhile, I had to try to empty these things, but could you imagine trying to empty a flat cat litter box that's filled to the top? So inevitably, I spilled water on the floor. And so that's got to seep through. It's got a nightmare, and it's supposed to rain solidly for the next week, and the long-term forecast is above average Dashiki. Above average precipitation for the next 2 weeks. So I'm going to try to see if I could get an inexpensive pump or something and try to deal with it, But before I get into that, we're going to go looking. Let's go shopping for those. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you I want to show you something here. And you should be able to see this without a problem. Make it as big as possible. On the left, I want to show you what it's like, what you can do, and in finding property, and why so someone looking at this, they might be like, what the? All right. The play on the left is what my backyard looked like. Well, actually, my backyard looked way worse than that. The weeds were up about 1.5 feet, 2 feet tall. Okay? This is after I chopped it down. And if you look way in the back, you could kind of see dandelions that are 1.5 feet tall in that next to that like cinder block garage way in the back, which is mine. Okay. And that's a little bit bigger than it may look. It's actually a garage. The opening's in the alley in the back, and it could fit a car in. So it's pretty big. It's not pretty big, but I mean it's big enough to fit like a car in it. It's a garage. And there was like a beehive next to that door. Okay. But and like I said, the weeds were all. This is after I weed whacked and then was able to mow down this yard. You could see the crappy fence. Now you could imagine someone in the house in the front. If I showed you a picture of that, I had that somewhere. And you know how they have these shows and they always talk about curb appeal and people do this and then they fix these yards and then the value of the house goes up. Well, that's why I bought this house so cheap, I guess, because they felt they had no curb appeal. And people would come to it and look at it and think it was a dump, right? Well, I never fell for that, though I used to watch some of those shows. On the right side is not this past summer, but is the summer previous, because I've even done more, because on the right-hand picture is the same yard. This is a picture taken up from the attic, which just goes to show you how high up that room is and why I can't get people there. So here you could see the same garage, right? I just painted the door white. Next to it, there's a little mini greenhouse with a little solar panel on it, and there's a lawn chair there, an umbrella. It's my place where I hang out. And now look at, there's like 2 trees growing that, like I say, this is a year old. This isn't from this last summer. This is from the summer before. But you can see I have a birdhouse. On the right, that wooden thing with the weird triangular thing on it, there's half of a pergola towards the lower left of the picture, which I added another one and then cross things across because those are grapevines. 2 apple trees are in the center. Those are apple trees. And then you can see a series of like raised bed plants. And there's even a water catchment system, that blue thing to the side of the garage. I opened the drain pipe. And actually next to the greenhouse, that little mini greenhouse, if you look and see that the gutter goes in, there's a little square thing. Gutter goes into that, and I have a nozzle on that. So I water stuff in the greenhouse from that water catchment system. And then on the other side of that garage, I water the plants from that rainwater catchment system. And I have a little grill there, and way in the back is a compost area. And as you can see, and I have a little pond in there too, but that's not really totally visible. It's like behind the first raised bed. If you see that darkened area, that's like a pond. The birds go in there, but it's just, And you see I have some trees and bushes on the right. And, I'm growing everything from, wild herbs, mint, spearmint, parsley, sage, oregano, let's see what else, cilantro, and then, of course, all the classic vegetables, tomatoes, peppers, beans, potatoes, carrots, squash, you name it. And so someone comes to buy a house, and like I said, this is I don't have one picture of it when the grass was all grown up, but you could see how I put a lattice on the fence. You could tell that it's white, and then painted the poles, replaced a couple of them, and just transformed the place. And I just did all this stuff myself over the period. It just, literally the first couple of years is when I did most of the work. And now it's just a great place to hang out. And the lot next to me is a doctor's office. So I have that privacy. And on the other side of me is this, well, it's just like kind of this crazy woman, but I have a high fence. You can see how high the fence is by looking at the picture on the left. And subsequently, where it wasn't as high towards the back, I basically raised that last year up to the, up to that like 8 or 9 feet height. So I have total privacy from that neighborhood, from that neighbor. Yeah, so I just wanted to show you the type of transition and the things you can do. And see, you on the right-hand side also, you can see the shingles on the porch. That's the kind of stuff that was on the roof and why I have a leaky roof. Because it's old shingles and the wind, we've got this thing going on now because of this weakening magnetic field. And these old shingles are falling off. It's a tragedy. Anyway, this kind of makes my head look weird. Like shrunken down or something. But I don't care. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is I was going to put display capture on, the crazy thing. And let's go to a new window. And let's look at, I guess we'll look at Amazon. Amazon.com. And we're going to look up battery gas pump. Yeah. I've seen these things. Here they are. See, what I'm thinking is that I'm going to need to get something I can stick. There's no way I can pick up those things. And it looks like the price varies somewhere around $34 to $29. Like here, let's just look at this. Free delivery Monday, January 3rd. Oh, man, that's too far off. See, when you see that, you know it's not something they have. And you see how here it says, if you look under it, it says Tuesday, December 28th. But when you go to it, then it's telling you, or fastest delivery the 28th. But you can't trust that because that every time I've done something that they didn't have in stock type of thing, it ended up getting lost. Like here's one. Yeah, see, this is the same deal. See, it's really all I need is something to, it takes a couple batteries, is to put into, see how the guy's cleaning out an aquarium there and putting it into a thing? I mean, that's all I really need, and as long as it works, I could take the rainwater and put it into a bucket and then dump it out the window. But what I don't trust about this is this free delivery Monday, January 3rd, like a week away. I need it like this Monday or Tuesday. So I don't know what's going on here. See, Amazon is like messing with us. Get it as soon as. It looks like everything's like that. And so they're going to charge you extra money even though you have Prime. It's totally uncool, man. What's going on with Amazon? I mean, they have this ridiculous deal with the U.S. Postal Service. And I really don't want to spend more than $19, so I'd really like to buy this thing. Let's just see out of curiosity what it says. Important messages about items in your cart. that is. I already got whatever he wanted. Well, I'm not going to sign in securely, but this is something I'm going to have to deal with today. You see this weird thing there? Like, what is that? Right? Anyway. The Morning Show with Tony C. So, anyway, here I am. The password is Dashiki. So it's 5:18 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you know.
The only station that matters.
And here we are, right? On Kwanzaa Day. And the 12 days of Christmas begin. I'll keep the Christmas decorations up through the 12 days of Christmas in the background. We're back to the then what girl, though. You don't know what you don't know, and that kind of thing. Freedom is fun. Game over and all that jazz. Everything you know is wrong. But I kind of feel all right. Considering last night I felt like crap. Yesterday I felt like crap on and off throughout the day. And I don't know why. I mean, I do know why. I think it's because of sugar and junk. You know? I get this. And then the stressed out. I mean, it was my worst nightmare realized when I went up to the attic and these things were overflowing. I knew there's no way you can't carry a rectangular thing filled to the top across the room to the window. Man, I'm an idiot. I should have gotten one of those pumps. I was thinking about it. I knew this, but I was like talking to a friend of mine even, and I was saying, you know, I'm afraid with all this week of rain, you know, these things are going to fill to the top. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I was like hoping that I was just being like overly dramatic or something. But it's like the Woody Allen line in that whatever movie that was, my worst nightmare realized. I think it's from Annie Hall or Manhattan. No, I think it was from Play It Again, Sam. You know, which is, you know, one of the few movies that I could actually go and watch. It's like Star Trek. I could watch Star Treks over and over. It doesn't bother me. I know the next line they're going to say, you know. But like I couldn't watch like The Matrix again. Because it's like a thriller, things happen. Plus, you know one thing about The Matrix, and I know that it's all that gratuitous stuff in there. It's probably why it ran 2.5 hours. But it's like all that, kung fu crap. I know that's like people are drawn into that, and somehow they have got, Keanu Reeves, even through his, his John Wick movies and stuff, which I like. I like Keanu Reeves, and I like his movies. And I don't mind the scenes, I guess, the fight scenes and stuff, but they just seem too extended for me, you know. But I mean, it's the big chunk of their audience is the video game culture. I realize that. So, as somebody who was in the entertainment and advertising industries, marketing industries, I understand. So I put up with it and I deal with it. What am I going to do? But I'm more into the science fiction aspect of it and the concepts, of what they were trying to deal with. And I'm not sure if they exactly did. I mean, it was interesting, the idea that they opened the movie and they even mentioned like Warner Brothers and, well, you'll have to see that. That's not a spoiler or anything because it's like the opening scenes. Yeah, check it out. You'll like it. Like I said, assuming you could cancel your subscription, it's like a movie ticket. If you watch it with a friend or spouse or whomever, I mean, it's like seeing a first run movie for $7.50. And then plus you could probably watch another show or something on HBO Max and then cancel the thing, you know. But in the meantime, we still live in this world.
Your papers, please.
You know, and you scan through YouTube, and it's just like, it's like this other world that's going on. It's just like why the Matrix is so. I mean, glad they put a Matrix movie out because it really makes you feel as if what's going on is just unreal. It's like unreal.
Hey, it's me. How you doing, man?
I was just talking about the Matrix and how the parallels with what, life today. It just doesn't seem like it's so off the wall that you can't imagine it. I would never have been able to imagine this, listening to the revolution will not be televised, listening to Gil Scott-Heron, or being at the March on Washington 2 down in D.C. and with a million other people. Diverse crowd, by the way. Could never imagine that things would end up this way and be so just freaky. And it's not just that, that stuff is almost waning a little bit towards the background. It's this thing, the whatever, the endless disease, that's just getting out of frickin' control.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
I mean, I don't know. As the coffee from the carafe overpowers what was in the cup, where I had that creamer, which is a dairy creamer, but I'm sure they got sugars in that too. The coffee's starting to taste weird. I might have to just dump that whole tin of coffee. I was trying to make this like my own mix, and I should have stuck to what I did with the first can. The first can was 100% Colombian, and then I had bought this Kona coffee blend and added that to it. So Colombian's decent coffee. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with Colombian coffee. It's not the best, though. It's like there's some African coffees and some other Central American coffees that are pretty good. But Kona coffee is like the best. But anyway, so mixing some Kona with that 100% Colombian. Excuse me. I don't know what happened there, guys.
Really funny. Really funny.
Sorry about that,
Oh, no. Okay.
So, yeah, I may end up doing that. Dumping the coffee. And just going back to something. Because I don't want to put creamer in it. I don't want to put sugars in my mouth. I can't afford to lose any more teeth. And I can't get to the dentist, man. I just hope this xylitol stuff works. Let's just look that up. Like I say, don't take me, we're just messing around here. Trying to find the answers to some. Let's see, does xylitol fill cavities? Let's see. Xylitol inhibits the growth of the bacteria that causes cavities. It does this because these bacteria, Streptococcus mutans, cannot utilize xylitol to grow. Over time, with xylitol use, the quality of the bacteria in the mouth changes and fewer decay, causing bacteria to survive on tooth surfaces. Can xylitol fix cavities? The number of acid-producing bacteria may decrease as much as 90%, since xylitol shows destruction and enables some rebuilding of enamel. Okay. Now, again, this is the internet, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. It helps prevent new cavities from forming and over time can reverse tooth decay that already occurred. Xylitol may also prevent something. So the question is, what is xylitol available in? Let's see. Some products that contain are sugar-free gum, toothpaste, and mouthwash. Foods contain xylitol, baked goods, peanut butter, drink powders, candy, pudding, ketchup, barbecue sauces. All right. Beware of xylitol in common products. Let's see what this is. Some products that can contain xylitol, obvious sugar-free gum, toothpaste, and mouthwash. Foods that contain xylitol appears in specialty calls and melted chewing vitamins. Because xylitol products retain moisture, could be ingredients. Xylitol is a sweetener. Dog owners, okay, so it's bad for dogs. I understand that. Peanut butter in small amounts is safe. Okay, that's for pets. Here we go. Medical news, possible benefits, uses, effects. Improve health, prevent ear infections, and possess antioxidant properties. Manufactures sugar-free candies, gums, mints, jams, jellies, nut butters, yogurt. That's interesting. Xylitol is also an ingredient including toothpaste. Low glycemic, dental health, ear infections, antioxidants, side effects, and safety. Okay. Have approved xylitol as a food additive, so it's generally safe. It can cause digestive issues such as bloating and diarrhea in some people. I haven't had that problem. It's worth noting xylitol can be toxic to dogs. Okay, well, I'm not giving it to any dog. Where was this? Where was I? I hate when these things just like shoot, you know. Where was that? Antioxidant side effects. Okay. Pets that cannot reach. Safe place pets cannot reach. Anyone who thinks that their dog is consumed. Okay. No interactions. Yeah, so I'm basically keeping my fingers crossed that this, apparently FDA approved it. Good old FDA, right? So what I'm saying is I'm like kind of on, my attitude right now is I've got to like get rid of all the sugars I have in the house and try to I use xylitol toothpaste and xylitol gum, but I've got to see if there's something else out there too. A common thing, and just try to make sure that's in my mouth. So, amoxicillin, is that strep whatever bacteria. The other thing they say is, keep your mouth, let your mouth get dry, like especially in wintertime. I notice I keep a bottle of water at my bedside because even with this rain upstairs coming down and just destroying this nightmare I'm going through, like I wish I could I had a ride to Lowe's or something to buy one of those pumps today. Today's not supposed to be as bad, but tonight, it always rains like when I'm in bed, like at night. Let's see. Yeah. But tomorrow's a 90% chance of rain. Monday, 90% chance of rain. Tuesday, 90% chance of rain. Wednesday, thunder showers. Thursday, rain, lower percent chance of rain, but still warm enough that it's not going to freeze. So it's like, man, I need to get that thing tomorrow. I don't know what to do. I literally do not know what to do. Yesterday, like I said, was my worst nightmare realized. when I saw that bucket, I just went up. I was like casually, because usually these buckets get like maybe an inch. A cat, the thing might be this tall. And usually maybe there's about this much water, and that's after like a couple of weeks and a couple of rains. And I was up there working on stuff this past week. I like redid all the plastic and stuff and even put in new caulk. And for some reason, this particular rain, I don't know what the deal was. I never had those things fill even through the summer and like serious rainstorms. I mean, what did I do? I mean, I didn't do anything to make it worse. I don't understand. It literally filled, 2 of them filled up to the top. Oh, man. Anyway, you don't want to hear me complain, This is...
It's an excursion into the odd and into the very, very different.
It's ridiculous, Ah, man.
This is insane.
I've got to get off of this.
Weekend.
It's the weekend. It's Kwanzaa. Let's have... All right. Let's see. Thanks for sticking with me this long. Anyway, that's my life, right? Right now. You think it's kind of funny that I have all these, I've got a dashiki for Kwanzaa, and I had the holiday Santa outfits and the Santa hats and stuff. I know, it's crazy. It's something to do, I'm not the only one that does it. I mean, different guys do it. I've seen, what's his name? Some people go over the top. What's the name of that guy who does the video podcast? Steven Crowder. Those guys get right down into dressing up like, full regalia of some, crazy stuff, like, I don't know if he's done it, but he probably did. It's like on President's Day, he'll like be dressed up like Abraham Lincoln with the beard and the cap or something. They go all out. I'm just wearing a dashiki. Right. I think this thing cost me like $12, I bought one in the late 70s down the shore for like $5 on the sidewalk in front of the London Ale House Club in Wildwood, New Jersey. Buddy Rich was going to play there that night. I had front row seats. Buddy Rich. I used to publish a dining and entertainment magazine down there when I was a kid. Literally, the drinking age was 18 down there. And I was in between, it was like during summer vacation. That's what I did. What'd you do for your summer vacation? Published a magazine. Because it was like, because the resort season is the summer season, which is the same, corresponds. It wasn't like today, it's funny with school today, people go longer. Of course, I know the one college town I was living in before I moved here, they were finished pretty much in May, like by early to mid-May. But they went back in August. We never went back till after Labor Day, So you were able to go to the shore and work full, because that's what they really wanted people to work to Labor Day, because that's the season. Memorial Day to Labor Day was always the big season down at the shore, Can you work through Labor Day? Yeah, no problem. I'll be there. I didn't do it for money, to save money. I knew people who did it, saved money. I don't know how they did it. I just did it to have drinking money. Because it was drinking age was 18. It was a town that filled up with like 500,000 college age, high school graduates, college age kids. Everybody was basically almost under 21, and there really wasn't that much trouble. despite the fact that there was bars, wall to wall bars everywhere. And you imagine today the way people are, the difference, just the maturity of people in general back then. I know it sounds weird, but I mean, we were 18 and 19 and we were drinking in bars. And you obviously are getting buzzed and stuff like that. And it wasn't like, craziness. So I don't know. Times have changed. And, you had, and of course, that era, you had a lot of pot smoking and different things like that too. Because, you were coming off of, the hippie era, so there was still like, that scene. I was just basically a drinker, beer drinker. I didn't even smoke. I had a job one summer handing out free cigarettes to people from a tobacco company. They gave me like a box filled with cartons of cigarettes and sent me to a bar, a location. And my job was, and then they paid me like $40 or something like that, a ridiculous cash. And my job was just to stand at the door, get permission from the manager of the bar. Say, hey, do you mind if I give out free cigarettes to people coming in your bar? And they all said, yeah. I don't think anybody ever turned me down. And all I had to do was say, you want a pack of cigarettes? You want a pack of cigarettes? You want a pack of cigarettes? As soon as it was done, it was done. I went and drank at the bar. And I think they gave us the cash up front, because they hired us. It was like Philip Morris or one of those companies, or Lorillard, I don't know, one of those big tobacco companies. What's the other one? R.J. Reynolds. One of the biggies. And they wanted to get people hooked on their brands, or experiment with a new brand. I did all kinds of crazy, when I was younger. Whatever it took. But I mean, yeah, it would be like, I don't know what it was. I don't think it was $20. I think it was closer to 40 or something like that. It was ridiculous. But it was really good money, and you do that 2 nights a week, and you had enough money, to party. It was great. And then I was doing something else. I think I was, on the side. So I was living like a king, I know the show's going a little slow, but I don't know how long we'll keep it going. I wasn't necessarily going to do a show, but I had the Dashiki, so I've been like kind of looking forward to doing it. I've only worn this one other time, like after I had gotten it or something. And I know those things on there, some people are probably thinking, oh, they look like pitchforks or something. It's like, it's not it's not satanic. It's just African design, It's a, just a thing. It's a dashiki, man. Doesn't mean anything, right? Don't read into the patterns. This coffee is like not that hot because I put too much from the carafe in it. So what else is going on here?
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
The thing is, I'm just still trying to make up my mind whether I'm going to continue to do these things. And the question being, having done 350 some plus daily webcasts, podcasts, whatever you want to call these things, blogs, and seeing that the news and YouTubers, it's all the same stuff. And finding myself, I occasionally, I'll come up with these little anecdotes and just remember something from a particular time. But generally speaking, I mean, let's face it, it's either about the main story is about this thing, or, your
papers, please.
that thing, right? Or some kind of, odd politics, Like I said, the whole idea of like Gil Scott, the revolution will not be televised. It's like the whole movement that, that's been kind of co-opted by, Generation Now is just totally out of touch with what happened, in the past and all the accomplishments of all the people, who really, fought, right, for to make things life really nice like it was in the late 70s, because it really was, after everything. But that's, like I say, I don't see a lot of that going on. I mean, I'm not I'm not in a major market, but I mean, I think a lot of that's calmed down. I think everybody's just being so scared. They're just trying to scare the wits out of people with this, this thing that just never ends. And now they're talking about mailing stuff out to people's houses, test kits, do-it-yourself test kits, and then some pill that Pfizer made that they're going to distribute to local doctors and ask us to take that or something. Maybe, I don't know. It's just, all that stuff is just really ridiculously surreal. And like I say, surreal has no weight in today's society. It gets a meaningless word because things are so far off the deep end that like words like that are, I say it all the time, it's useless, right? I mean, when you say,
This is insane.
Everything's insane, man. Everything. So it's like you reach a point where you're either preaching to the choir in a sense, or, you're going like, what's the use? What's the use? And I'm not going to spend 2022 doing this every day. I've already made up my mind on that. It's like, no way. I spent an entire year, I gave a year to do this, to bring on a daily basis. And apart from, once or so a week, there'd just be like a free flow of consciousness show like this, where it wasn't really into specific things and I wasn't pulling up, a certain slides and going into detail on some sort of thing that they're screwing us over on. But for the most part, we, over those 350 odd shows, we covered a lot of topics and a lot of stuff. And there was a lot of things that people weren't aware of. I learned a lot myself just doing the shows and researching the shows and stuff. But no one seemed to care, The numbers were like 33 views was like a big one, 12 views. And then I watched somebody who's like talking about, something that I talk about, like this jackery thing or something like that, where I'm just saying, hey, man, I've been powering this thing, blah, blah, blah. And the guy would be getting like 22,000 views. And it was like some clickbait thing. And I'm going, I'm tired of being shadow banned or whatever the hell banned or, however there's messing with the algorithm. And I'm not going to get into that again today, but it's just, it doesn't follow the law of probability and statistics that with 2 billion YouTube users, 1 billion of them on the, this side, the wokes, well, not wokeism, but I mean the side of people who are awake. And if you cut that number in half and then cut that number in half, you're still left with a couple 100 million people on YouTube. And randomly, if this thing were shown in the, like, here's what's on live, blah, 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 I should be getting just randomly a couple of 100 people, if not a couple 100,000 viewers. right? 1,000 viewers, a couple hundred, not one or two or three. So, that just, like I say, that takes the wind out of your sails in one regard. However, I watch these things back. So, for me, it's been entertainment. It's been some of the better vlogs. I've enjoyed watching them back because I like seeing how I got, especially when the ones where we dealt with an issue, how we got to a point and then maybe researched something, went on, through the internet, found something out. And it was interesting to see how we got from point A to point B by the end of the show. So, in that regard, I don't regret doing these shows, but I just can't imagine doing them much longer. So I'm going to probably see it through the end of the year, more or less. But next year, I don't know. I may produce one show per week, maybe produced. I don't know if I'll do it live. I may do them live. I don't know. I may switch to Rumble if they get their live act together and it's not pay to play. Right now, it's like kind of pay to play for live. I do encourage you to go to Locals and see my Christmas show. If you're into Christmas music and where I drank, and it's a half-hour show where I play actually longer forms of some classic Christmas songs, and I'm drinking like half and half beers. And, it's kind of a trip. I'm half buzzed doing the show. Something I couldn't do on YouTube. And Rumble is supposedly kind of like a freer format as well. So I may do something like that once a week and have the freedom where I could do what I want to do. But I don't know. We're just going to see how it plays out. And let's see what happens in 2022. My main focus right now is I got like 24, 36 hours, actually probably just 24 hours or less to deal with this attic problem. Man, does that piss me off. I really don't know what to do. And I can't wait a week for a pump. Because, see, the thing with Amazon you have to understand is I did this for a little like tiny clock, takes a AA battery clock. And when it doesn't say, like, you don't have that guaranteed 2-day delivery and you get, then that means it's funky. It's coming through like a third party or something. And those third parties, they just do, I can't tell you how many times the stuff got lost that I ordered from them. Literally a lot. So I'm not going to spend money on something that I need right now. Just kick myself for not having bought one. That's crazy. But yeah, I'm going to focus on that, and that's that. And probably see what I could find on HBO Max since I spent the money on the subscription. I've watched the end of all the Amazon Prime's shows, like what was it, Wheel of Time? Was that Amazon or was that Netflix? And there was something on Netflix I was watching. I don't know which one that was, but I went through that, binge watched through that series. They like spoon feed them to you now because they kind of know you do that. Have you noticed that? Like there'll be a new episode each Friday or each Wednesday or something. Because what people have been doing is that, the series comes out, people sign up for the service, have a binge watching weekend, and cancel the service for the next month. This way they could at least get you in for 2 or 3 months if there's 10 episodes, more than 2 months worth, 2 months of Fridays worth of shows. You can't blame them, I guess, for doing that, but yeah. Otherwise, I've seen everything else. It's ridiculous. There's 10,000 things on Netflix, and I've seen it. I mean, I've either seen it all or I have absolutely no interest in watching what whatever pops up. Just all kinds of weird, stupid stuff, with gratuitous scenes based upon, ideological, socio-political nonsense, right? Has nothing to do with anything, nothing to do with the story. It just bothers me. It's boring, and it just makes it, I don't know. It's just not fun. So anyway, that's that. So I guess I'll just cut this show short. I mean, really, I've nothing really to say. Just wanted to get on, and say good morning. I'm up, so I just did it. I'm here. Visit ROCKFLUX.com or check out that Locals thing, TonyCaravanLive.locals.com, and you could see that weird Christmas video. It's a 30-minute live one. I think it's the second one down or something like that. Second or third one down. I don't know if it's at the top or not. And of course, I've got my books and my music and shirts and all that stuff, and the Great Solar stuff and stuff is available if anybody's interested in it. Other than that, have a great day, Enjoy yourself, and maybe I'll talk to you tomorrow.